Hello again, Andy with Handy Andy Handyman, Handy Andy on Demand, and we are out today looking at another rental property over in Powder Springs. And you know, surprisingly, this is a really well-built brick home, and so we're not looking at these properties to try to take it to full retail. We just want to make sure it's cleaned up and any maintenance issues are corrected, and keep it up to date. And so she's got a few things. This particular owner, their gutter cleaner is telling them they clean the gutters, and these gutters haven't been cleaned in years, which is causing some moisture issues inside the house. You can see we've got some decking issues here and here, where nails have popped or decking has popped up. So we're gonna have to pull those shingles, secure them down. They're active leaks into the house. I'm surprised that there's not more water damage in the house. These are nice 3x4 inch downspouts, but they're on 5 and 4 inch gutters. And so we got a couple areas like right here. You can see the gutter is buckled a little bit behind here. Boys need to check that. We're just looking for the basic rotted wood, like here on this corner right here, this fascia and soffit at the left corner of the garage needs to be cleaned up. Most of the exterior is actually in good shape. When you come around the backside, you can see what really happens with some of this stuff if you don't catch it early. This is a couple years worth of pine needles jammed back here and leaves in this valley. And so we've now got water damage right here on the inside of the eat-in portion of the kitchen. This is stuff, if you've got rental properties or even your own home, walk it once a year. We need to repaint this boot right here. This is for the water heater. And you can see it's raised right here. All we need to do is just seal it. So the guys will re-nail that with a corrugated roofing nail. It's got a little grommet on it to seal it. These are just normal roofing nails. And so when the wind comes, they have no bite. It just pulls it right up. But we can repaint that thing and put a new capper on the top of it so it doesn't rust out and cause any leaks. Seal this vent boot over here. This is for the plumbing. And that's a lead boot. We like those. The squirrels like to eat them. But again, you can kind of see the edges. If you see the shadow on the right side right here, every time it rains, it's leaking. And we got one more tented shingle right here that needs to be fixed. Go ahead and seal all the edges. You can see where they put roofing tar up against that chimney because there's no flashing under there anymore. So whoever redid this roof probably pulled the flashing out. We just need to go over it and seal it again and just leave that on the maintenance list to reseal it every 2 years and then get all this debris off this little garden roof back here. There's another section of rotted fascia right here on this corner. And this stuff is really just rotting because the gutters haven't been cleaned and the corners aren't sealed. So anytime you see screws like this, you need to reseal your gutters once every 5 years. Once you do that, you're good to go. This one back here, the boys will try to bend this gutter out a little bit. It got hit by a tree branch at some point in time. You can see right here where the washing machine is discharging back here. So someone added that the washer and dryer that she's got on this property, the plumbing either wasn't there, it was messed up. And so they just ran it around the backyard. I wouldn't fix it. It slopes downhill. No one's ever going to catch it probably. If you sell the house someday, just make sure you clean all that lint away so they don't realize that it runs to the washing machine. This little crawl space right here, they had a kitty door down here. We need to seal that because right now that's just an entrance for rats. I'm not going to open it right now, but on the other side of this, I'm assuming the crawl space goes the whole length of this width of the back end of the house and probably a little towards the main, probably a little bit under the living room. There's no vapor barrier down there, so we really need to put a vapor barrier. If you've got a dirt crawl space, there's nothing wrong with that. You don't need to encapsulate the whole thing, but you want to make sure that you got about 90-95% of it sealed with a 6 mil or thicker plastic vapor barrier, and that way you're not getting all that moisture wicking up into the house. And that's another problem for the inside of this house. The walls are sweating in this house, and I'll show you that in a minute. Some of this stuff on the exterior, if the boys can just come through, anywhere you see black against these windows, like right here, never been caulked and sealed, you'll see it on every window. So just come through and white caulk that. But that's about it for the outside. The inside, depending on this investor's budget, really need to repaint the whole house for a couple of reasons. One, it's been weeping in there for a while, so there's mold throughout the house. And we'd rather repaint the whole thing with a standard paint on properties like this. We're usually using a light gray. It's kind of in vogue right now and has been for the last couple years. But on houses like this, we'll add a mildew side to the paint. And we'd actually, if I can find it, it's hard to find materials right now, add a fragrance to it like French vanilla or something just to make it smell a little bit better in there. some of that moisture is behind the walls. So once we clean the gutters and seal the roof, they'll have less of that. I don't know if this particular owner wants to fix this paint job where they rolled the brick. They got it up on the trim light here and it just looks bad. We may or may not want to try to paint this concrete. We're having a hard time finding an affordable and efficient concrete paint that'll hold up to areas that are prone to weather like this. You're gonna get a lot of moisture here, up the sidewalk to the front door, and then repaint the front door and this door as well. That little door there, I guess, goes to a storage area behind the laundry. The kitchen looks fine. It's tight, and I guess most people come in this way, but she's got nice granite in here. One of the problems with granite, if you're an investor or homeowner, pay your installers a little bit extra. When they install these undermount sinks, they're using a really cheap elastomeric sealant to silicone sealant to bind that sink to the back edge, the underside edge of that granite. And over time, you see what happens, it drops. And then these knuckleheads came in here with liquid nail, and you can actually see, A, it looks crappy, and B, it's starting to drop again. So they actually make a product that's an undermount bracket that you could screw, 3 or 4 of them on the underside and get it in there. The boys need to do something with this sink cabinet right here, because you can see when I open that door, see it pulling away. The white cabinets still look good. I'd probably leave them as they are. I'm not real fond of this little piece around the dishwasher. I guess when they replaced it, that's what they did. We'd probably skim that out and just paint it to match the rest of the cabinets. These cabinets were painted with oil-based paint, so the cabinets themselves are holding up fairly well. A little bit of chip on the bottom, but other than that, they actually look decent. The rest of this place, as you look around, you'll see mismatches in the ceiling. You'll see where they try to cover some stains. This is that back side of the outside patio right here, and you can see where all the water's come down this wall and rotted out the paneling inside. So we would go ahead and strip this one piece out and then come back and prime and paint it. But we come back with one coat of the same paint that's on these walls. I would probably take a fireplace like this and paint it a contrasting gray. We've got a few colors that are kind of cool. I forget one of them was like warm stone, I think. It's a Sherwin-Williams color. I can't remember the number, but I want to say 7029, but don't hold me to that. It's in that range. This is agreeable gray or fashionable gray, which we use a lot. All of the doors that you're going to keep, I would just change these to 6-panel doors and paint them. I'm going to start coughing because of the mold in here. It's not super bad. I'm just really sensitive to it. You can see the paint job was really poor in here anyway. See that? And people always ask, why do you hand paint and why do you cut and roll? Well, we want to avoid these shadow lines. So whoever painted this went through and just cut everything in and then came back and sprayed it or rolled it or whatever they were doing in here. Overall, the house really looks good, honestly. The colors, the furniture, everything's decent. Again, same with this door. I'd rather have a French door with glass in there. If you could close it, that way people could still see. A lot of times people are entertaining. They're putting kids to sleep in these back bedrooms. And you still want to be able to hear and see what's going on. So we can change those to 6-panel doors. The rooms are all decent. The ceiling fans are nice. You can start to see some of the sweating action in here. See that streaking? That's part of what that is. Not the dripped paint, but this streaking right through here. And it's all over. You'll see it down through here. The walls will sweat a little bit all the way through. So we need to go ahead and clean this stuff with Microban and kill everything. See it through here? And then just come back and repaint everything. The hall bathroom is a little tricky because they're tight, number one. They've epoxy painted the sink and the tub, and it's peeling on both of them. We can touch up the sink for right now. The tub, I'm not really sure what to do. This is a custom cabinet in here. We've just replaced this front piece from the water coming over the top when people are using it. Can't help but splash it. But you can see why we don't like epoxy. If you're flipping a house for real fast and you just want to coat it with epoxy, go ahead. But as the cleaners come through and clean it, eventually they'll break it down, and you can see here where if I lift my finger on this stuff, it's actually, it's coming off in a sheet. It never bonded at all to this stuff. But this feels like an investor that just flipped it. I would change this shower head to a body spray. These are older faucet sets, but I wouldn't change them for this. For what this is, it's a nice big house. We run into this problem a lot with investors. This toilet was changed out. They never mounted it properly to the ground, so I can actually, both of these toilets in this house are leaking. I don't know if you can see me move it. Yep. It's moving on the bottom right there and leaking. So these need to be pulled and reset. We always use I forget which company off the top, but we like to use the brass combo bolts. They're automatically adjustable and they're strong and they won't break, and that's what we want to do. And all these rooms are kind of the same. So we change these doors. This slides over into the masher, which is really nice for someone who has like a toddler or younger kids. They're pretty close right here, and they can still, the kids from both these bathrooms can catch that, or both bedrooms can catch that bathroom right there. The master, you'll kind of see again the moisture issue, and it's got that smell in it as well. Carpet's clean enough for a rental, so I wouldn't be worried about that, but the doors are yucky. This toilet has the same issue. It floats on the floors, is leaking. I'm not sure if this owner wants to change this little vanity out to something. I'm not really sure what we can get. We're not working with a lot of space right there. But you can kind of see the peeling on the walls. And the ceiling has just light mold. They've tried to touch it up. And I think they actually upgraded this exhaust fan because they knew they had a mold issue in the space. You can see right here, everything's just shedding. So this room's got to be stripped, cleaned. My guess is that this exhaust fan just vents into the attic, and that doesn't get this moisture out of here. It just sits on top of the ceiling. So we need to vent it to the outside if it's not vented already, but you can kind of get a better feel as I come across this way. See all that peeling paint? So this thing will have to be stripped and then primed, skimmed, sanded, primed, and then M1 in the paint. And all the bathroom ceilings, we're using Zinsser Perma-White, which is a mildew-proof paint. Can't find it everywhere. If you can't find it at your Home Depot or Lowe's, you can often find that product at Ace Hardware. Some of the vents where they're nasty, we'll go ahead and repaint them. The trim just gets chipped up from the vacuum cleaners. The cleaners come through and they're trying to make time. Excuse me. Same with this vent. Just need to pull it and paint it. So it's all basic stuff that'll keep this getting 5-star reviews and keep it rented. I mean, that's the goal for people that are doing the short-term living accommodations. But overall, it's a nice enough property. So we'll be happy to take care of it. It's me and my brother and a team of about 26. We're all over the bloody place doing a little bit of everything. You can reach us in the office at 770-912-2829. Or sometimes you can catch me personally at 770-265-9017. I'm Andy. See you in the next house. Bye for now.